Hey everybody, it's Todd with Wayfind Really, your host for Souls on Flavor. This week we're going to do a white wine cream garlic sauce over ravioli. You could substitute ravioli, tortellini. There's so many different combinations you can do. Um, and then I was like, well, that's not really a big dish, so I'm going to make some focaccia bread. And I kind of thought through that over the weekend, and then I was like, just got distracted, and all of a sudden, I'm like, focaccia dough takes 18 hours. So I found a recipe, same day focaccia bread. I'll tag the creator in the comments below. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my water, my yeast, and a little bit of honey going so that it can start doing its thing. Then I'll add the flour. Now, you really want to do really warm water. Good news is my water that comes from my tap doesn't really get all that hot. Down the south, you don't need it. Up north, I can honestly tell you, if I took water from my tap on the running hot, I'd probably kill the yeast. It was that hot. Here, I'm not really worried about it, and I can always let it sit on the counter for a minute. You don't want it to burn you. That's about it. So 1 3/4 cups water, 1 1/2 teaspoons of yeast. There's 1 1/2. 1 teaspoon of honey. 1 tablespoon of olive oil, extra virgin. If you've never had focaccia bread, it's a little different than other bread in the sense that it has a lot of oil in it. You're going to see as we work it, you twist it in oil when you spread it on the tray. You drizzle it on top. You're pushing oil inside of it. So it's definitely a very oily bread. It's absolutely delicious. Now I know someone who has an egg allergy. So like the baguettes that I made last week, that's something they couldn't have, or they couldn't have the baguette. But this is something that you could they could enjoy. So the only ingredients that are not here, I got to throw some salt in here, and I'm going to garnish it with rosemary on top. But, I mean, you could even skip that part. I don't know anyone allergic to rosemary. And you can put other kinds of vegetables in the future too. Some dried tomatoes, peppers, jalapenos, too. Three. 4. And some kosher salt. Well, like I said, as far as the base goes, this is it. Now you just got to let it. You got to do some stretches and pulls, and we'll get to that. But that's it, guys. So if you have about, I'm giving myself about, well, with cooking time, about 4.5 hours. Now I can tell already this is too dry. So I'm gonna add some more water in it. When I worked in pizza shops, you always had a recipe, of course, to start with, but it was the texture that really matters when you work with dough. So the more you practice, the more you're going to get used to it. Like I made rolls over the weekend. It was the same thing. I followed the exact same recipe, and I looked at the dough and I was like, wow, that's pretty dry. And I didn't add water to it, and I really paid for it because it was a dry roll. Okay, you want to clean up your bowl a little bit, scrape the sides as much as you can. I don't have a bowl scraper. But I want to show you the consistency of the dough, right? So there's a little bit of elastic. You can feel it, see how it stretches out a little bit. That's what you're going for. So the dough's been sitting for 15 minutes. I have a bowl of just regular water. I'm going to submerge my hand in it. And I'm going to reach underneath here and pull it up and fold it over. Come out from the other side. Again, make sure your hand's nice and wet. Pull it up. You fold it over. Tuck it in like a ball. Tuck it in. You want to do this. So do it 4 times or 2 rotations. And you want to have enough water so that the dough doesn't stick to your hands. So that's once. Again, I'm going to cover it and leave it alone for 15 minutes. Do the same thing over again. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. Now I'm going to do the second round of the pull. Wet my hand, stretch it over, and pull it over. Cover this back up and let it sit for another 15 minutes. So it's been another 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I'm just wetting this, help the parchment paper stick. I'm going to put a generous amount of oil on the bottom here, olive oil that is. I'm going to take my dough and get it on there. I then want to take my dough, fold it into thirds. This is why you want to make sure you have a generous amount of olive oil on the bottom. And roll it over. I then have some parchment paper here, and I rubbed olive oil all over one side of it. I'm going to put the oil side down on the dough. I'm going to let that sit for about an hour and a half. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a shallot and we're going to dice that up. We're going to saute the shallot and garlic and some butter. We'll get that going. And then what we're going to do, we're going to saute some prosciutto as well. Pot of water on for my ravioli. I dice up that smaller shallot. Okay, I'm just going to cook that down. And I'm going to put in some garlic. And about a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. I've taken my prosciutto and cut it up. And that'll crisp up just like bacon would, right? So, okay, drizzle very lightly. A little extra olive oil. I know it seems excessive. Just a pinch more salt. Perfect. You don't have to worry about cooking out the prosciutto at any specific temperature. You just want to give it a little texture. It'll start to firm up. All right, once that happens, you want to add your wine, white wine. You want to deglaze a little bit there, just a splash. We're going to put some more in a minute. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add just a bit of flour. I want to thicken the sauce that we're making. So a little flour in there. I used the wine because I wanted to break up anything that was on the bottom of the pan, any of the fond there. All right, just give that a second. Let that cook down. And it will go right to the bottom. So this is where you want to keep stirring. Wine. I want to hit it with a little lemon zest here. Come in with my heavy cream. Now I'm going to get my fresh ravioli going. You can do this with regular pasta, tortellini. You could serve this sauce over chicken, fish. There's so much you can do with it. So you just want to keep stirring it because, again, the flour in here will drop to the bottom. We're just trying to get that to thicken up a little bit. We're going to finish it off with some Parmesan cheese, and I have some fresh basil to garnish on top of it. And obviously, we're going to have some of that focaccia bread to be served with it. Now, what you'll find with a lot of restaurants that they use their pasta water. The pasta's just about done. So there's that salty, oiled water. Put that in the sauce. Now I can put the cheese in now. It's going to melt instantly, just like the flour. It'll drop to the bottom. So I always like to put the cheese in right before we're done because it's so hot. Parmesan will dissolve into this almost instantly. Now there's a couple ways you can serve it. One, you can drain the water out of the pasta and pour the sauce on top of it, or we can scoop it out and put it in here and incorporate it right into it, which is fine. Either way, you're going to get a similar result. I have about a cup of Parmesan cheese here. So I'll do about a half cup. I don't think I need all that. Gets incorporated very quickly. All right. It's thickened up nicely. I'm going to take my raviolis here, pour them right into the sauce. I have some fresh basil here. Sprinkle that on top. Hit it with a little more shaved Parmesan. There you go. Hey everybody, it's Todd with Wayfind Really, your host for Sold on Flavor. So I'll have to come up with a name for this, but let's call this a garlic white wine butter cream sauce over ravioli. Now that's delicious, but I gotta be honest with you, fresh focaccia. You need to share this with somebody you love. A meal to be shared with a friend in your new home. If I can be of assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out. Till next week, take care. Bye.